How's everyone doing today? I'll be talking about Stewie from Family Guy. Family Guy seems to be the only content that's actually kind of working for me, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it like I'm a factory worker. And no, I'm actually kind of having a good time making content on Family Guy, but I also do want to make videos on other shit as well. Not that my other videos aren't doing all right as well. I guess some of my other videos do get like a couple of views. They have some people watching the YouTube channel, but then Family Guy seems to be doing the best. I don't know, y'all just love watching me talk about cartoon characters and get deep into them, even though they're just like TV show characters. But I have fun doing it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, we're gonna be talking about the psychopath gay rugby ball that Lois had to push out of her. By the way, I just like, can I just say, how did she give birth to him? Giving birth to her must have been like a saw trap. He was like, you must push this child who has like a rugby ball head out within like the next hour or something, or else you're gonna get your head chopped off. That must have been insane for her to go through. So anyways, this guy, he like, as soon as he came out of the womb, he's already evil. He already had a conscious way. I'm sure he's like writing in his journal and shit from within the womb, so he already knew what he was doing. And he has done some crazy ass shit, but he also has had the most interesting character arc out of all the characters in this show. I don't know, he's like the smartest in the family as well. I know he's even smarter than Brian, who's basically the only regular normal person in the family. Peter's just a mental retard who gets a high off of causing mass destruction around him everywhere he goes. Lois is a neglectful mother who basically just doesn't give a shit about her family, or doesn't give a shit about Meg at the very least. She's acting as if she adopted Meg from like a orphanage or some shit, because that's how she treats her at the time, where Meg's not allowed to go out of the basement or whatever. So yeah, she also gets a high off for robbing people. And then Chris, I guess Chris isn't really that I guess Chris isn't really that bad as Peter's Lois, but I think he's just a bit slow. But he also can be really random and creepy sometimes. Like there's an episode where Quagmire married a prostitute whose titties look like they're deflated whoopee cushions, and she spat on him, and then he wanted her to do it again. So yeah, he can be a bit freaky, but I think he's just a little bit slow. But he also loves movies. And then there's like Brian, who's pretty much just the only normal dog. So Stewie, he seemed to be a pretty interesting character. And he actually is gay as well. Seth also confirmed that he's 100% gay. I don't know, that's a bit random. They just made the baby character in the show like gay, but at least they had a good character arc. But in some episodes, in one episode actually, one of the craziest things he actually done is kill his own therapist after revealing his own accent. Yeah, this motherfucker was having just a regular therapy session with his therapist, like in You or whatever. This actually kind of played out like a You episode, by the way. And in that episode as well, he just mentioned, oh yeah, I'm not as gay as I used to be. I'm like, what do you mean, bro? He just like toned down the gay. He had to balance it out with straightness and gay, So and like he definitely is gay, but it's like the show kind of still keeps it ambiguous, which is, I guess, interesting. But in this episode, he's like talking to his therapist. He's able to dismantle his therapist by just looking at a picture. He's able to tell, oh yeah, your husband was born at the time when the word Mike was really popular. And then the therapist was like, oh, what? He figured out my husband's name? He didn't like. Stewie does not need mind reading powers apparently from that thing that he just pulled, because he can just guess anything by just looking at a picture. It's kind of crazy, bro. That's like, he's super smart. And he's talking to his therapist, and he eventually reveals his real accent, because everyone else in the family has American accents, and he's having a British accent. So it's like, so did you just like buy him off of an online website from England, them shipped to you? You didn't actually give birth to him. It's a bit weird. It's a bit random that he's the only British one. So then he actually reveals his accent, and he actually has an American actual accent. Now, if you've never seen Family Guy, you're probably thinking, what the fuck is this guy yapping about? And how is it's really not that deep. Oh, he has a different accent. But throughout the whole show, he was all speaking in British tone, and he switches to an American tone. And he felt relieved. He felt free. He felt like a pressure just got lifted off of him. Like a piano landed on him, like in a cartoon, and just like got lifted off. So then the therapist starts having a heart attack. His heart starts, panicking. He starts, dying pretty much. And Stewie, he's so like, insecure about his accent. He wants to keep that shit locked away in a vault. Like as if he just showed it, as if he just told the therapist his secret stash of money, just the location of it just buried out somewhere. That's how he's treating his accent. No one can know the real him. He doesn't want to be normal. He thought he was like better than all the other kids, because the therapist said, oh, now you can act like all the other kids, everyone else around you, and then Stewie's like, no, I'm not all of them. I'm better than them. I want to do world domination. He's kind of like a little baby Hitler reborn into the modern world, or whatever time Family Guy takes place. So he let the guy die pretty much. He was about to go over and get the stash of his medication for Africa, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna pretend being like I'm from a different country, even though this is my actual American accent. He's like a skinwalker before his voice, which is really petty if I think about it, and also pretty crazy. Stewie, watching this episode, he's pretty unhinged, because wanting to kill his ma the whole time and just killing people over petty reasons like that to hide his real action. Kind of crazy, and he didn't really care about it as well. He didn't really feel, he had no remorse killing the guy, so yeah, he is a psychopath, I will say. And other crazy things actually he done was kill Brian's family because Brian wouldn't give him Montana tickets. Stewie, he's a big Montana connoisseur, and they're supposed to be going to a Montana concert, and he's trying to get Brian to buy the tickets because, I don't know, Stewie's broke or some shit, or he need an adult to buy it, or whatever. Actually, he's in Hannah Montana, whatever, for kids. Yeah, pretty much, Stewie is Hard Henry if he just got, super evil and super fucked up. He was injected with the Joker toxin serum, and just turned completely psychopathic because, I just looked it up just to make sure, I'm not yapping, just chatting bullshit, being right. He did kill Brian's puppies, or Brian's siblings over Hannah Montana tickets, which is insane. That is crazy. Man is he's a pop star head or whatever. He's a pop head because he loves pop that much. He's willing to kill over just to get some tickets into a concert. So he's pretty psychopathic, but he also did end up being friends with Brian later on in the show, which I think is pretty cool. Another crazy shit he done is he actually decided to finally kill Lewis. Throughout the show, from the very start, his character was kind of shown as like he kind of had this same gag as, I'll kill you, woman, blast, damn you, vile slore, you slut, you hag. He hated Lois for some reason because he gave birth to her, because she gave birth to him or whatever. Still don't know why she hated him. But anyways, in this episode, he actually manages to kill her by shooting her off of a boat, and then they have like this insane final battle where Stewie just whips out a flamethrower and tries to turn her into a KFC, and then he gets shot as well by Brian, and then that ends up being a simulation. Basically, he was fantasizing about killing Lois. He has murderous. He still wants to kill Lois, so he went onto the simulation, to see how that would work out, and it didn't work out for him. So the only reason he still probably hasn't killed Lois is because he got an update. He was able to basically see in the future and see how that would work out, and it didn't work out. So he's pretty crazy, wanting to kill his own mother. I also kind of found him entertaining as well, though. I kind of found him to be one of the kind of more cooler and interesting characters, and he would have some funny moments as well. But his most distinctive character trait is that he's psychopathic, and he also this is just diabolical. It's just why would you do this, bro? He really put Brian in the doghouse. Brian was sleeping in the on the fall of their bed, but then he'd have to go out and sleep in the kennel. He wouldn't actually, but the way what Stewie did to him is, I'm surprised if they wouldn't do that to Brian. So basically, there's an episode where Brian's been pissing all over the place. He's been having way too much to drink, and he's been hallucinating that the whole house is a toilet and you were but the toilet. But it turns out it was Stewie that was pissing everywhere. He was just having a leak wherever he pleases because he likes to see Brian get blamed for it. He thinks it's funny, and he has the excuse because he's a baby. Babies don't know what the concept of pissing in the toilet bowl is yet. So all they know is to piss themselves, shit themselves, and spit food all over you like a food fountain. When you feed them something they don't like. So he kind is pretty smart because he's able to get away with it. But that is crazy as well. That is he can have some insane sense of humor. But pissing all over the place and blaming your dog. Wow, that is literally top tier rage bait. Eventually though, I'm very sure they just found out, and I feel like Brian, actually I feel like the way Brian should get back at Stewie is basically, he's a dog, and something that dogs also like to do apart from pissing is shitting. So he should just go into Stewie's bed one day, just take a big fat shit all over and be like, Stewie has diarrhea, he had Taco Bell, he has something, he has bowel issues, he's just shitting everywhere, I just found out, actually, I didn't watch this episode today because I thought it was just, Stewie being, an evil bastard and just pissing everywhere and blaming on Brian. But no, Brian, I remember I actually watched this episode ages ago, and Brian pissed all over the place first because he was nervous and he was horny for Lois and he couldn't get that out of him or whatever. He's unrequited. That's the thing in this show. Brian, loves his best friend's wife. wife. What a cock. So then he just pissed everywhere because of like nervous issues. And then at the end of the episode, Stewie took revenge by just pissing wherever he wanted. Basically just doing a Uno reverse on Brian, being like, you pissed everywhere to blame me, now I'm gonna piss everywhere to blame you. I might piss in the bathtub and drown you in it, you filthy dog. So yeah, that's what happened. I don't know, sometimes I get mixed up with shit and I mention stuff that's wrong and I think in my head, yeah, this didn't happen. So then I look it up to see if I'm right. And then I just, tell what actually happened. So I'm not yapping or chatting bullshit. But anyways, yeah, that was me talking about Stewie. See you later.